Hi, folks. It's the weekend, and I hope you're writing or prepared to write. It's for me. It's what is it? 9 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, and I wanted to say something, a few words about the hero, the protagonist, the main character. I hate those words. Main character and protagonist are so Latin and so unfeeling, so unemotional. But the hero is what we're really talking about. The hero is the emotional center of a book, of a story. And the reason we read the story is because we have an emotional relationship with this hero. It's not, a technical thing. It's really, we're flesh and blood. We want to be that hero. Let me explain it. It works over identification. You identify with the hero. uh, you see what he's doing, and you want to be him. And usually, the reason you want to be him is fairly simple. It's something like he drives a nice car. He's strong, right? We all want to be strong. He's in love with a beautiful woman. We all want the beautiful woman, so we want that. It's very some of these basic principles that the reason why we identify with the hero in the book are very simple and very almost even embarrassingly simple. And of course, the hero also needs more complex personality. He needs deficit. He needs weaknesses to make him human, so we recognize him as human. He needs an interesting problem to solve. That could be a number of problems. The main problem, of course, is the goal in the book, the actual plot. He has to solve the murder case. He has to fight the zombies. He has to, get the girl, whatever it is the main story is. But also at the same time, he has other little deficits, weaknesses. He's lazy. I don't know. He's an alcoholic. Whatever. So we want to be this character in order to see how he solves all these problems. But we don't want to be him if we don't like him, or if he's just someone who doesn't interest us. We're only interested in being that character, in living through his eyes, in his skin for 300 pages, if he's somehow appealing to us. Maybe it's because he drives a good car, or he has, money. Maybe it's because he has a sense of humor and we feel like we're so depressed, but he, masters life by just making a joke of it. He doesn't solve all his problems. He has lots of problems like all humans do, but he makes a joke of it. And so he gets through life and we think, "Oh my God, I wish I could be like that. I want to be like this guy." And that's the point where the reader latches on to the hero and says, "I want to see how this guy gets through his life. I want to be this guy. I want to live for that moment in this character's shoes, in his skin." A lot of beginning writers, especially, they have this problem that they are more fascinated by other things in the story than by the main hero. They are fascinated by the bad guy, and of course, evil is always more interesting than good. Good is always a little bit more, goody goody, kind of obedient to mom and dad, a Sunday school guy, and so the evil character is more interesting. And so a lot of writers say, "I really want to write about the bad guy," but the fact is the reader does not identify with the bad guy. He will identify with an anti-hero. That is a hero who has major character flaws, like Dexter. He's a serial killer, right? But we don't identify him because he's a serial killer. We don't want to see him kill people. Well, we do want to see him kill people, but that's not why we want to be him, because we have a desire to kill people also. And we want to see how it is to murder people. We identify with him because he has this problem and he's trying to tamp it down by only using it for good, only killing, killing people who are also murderers, right? So only killing the murderer, that's okay. That's Lynch justice in a crime story. For some reason, that's okay. So in every story, the goal he has, Dexter, is not to go out and murder someone. It's to solve the crime and bring justice to the world by killing the murderer. And that's the same goal, the same basic thing that any hero has. So even though he's an anti-hero, he has this basic principle that we want to do. We want to bring justice to the world just like him. We want to be that kind of hero who does good. And he has a weird and interesting weakness, which is he's also a psychopath. But we accept that because 90% of the movie or the book or of the TV series is him doing good things, and 10% or even 1% of is him being, the horrible guy. We have to want to be the hero. The hero is successful when the reader wants to be him for whatever reason. Do not neglect the hero. Do not make him more of a villain than a hero. Do not forget that he's the guy who has to solve the problem, who has to reach the goal, who has to kill the monster, who has to solve the crime. If there's another, if he has a partner, and if it's a detective novel and he has a partner, and the partner says, and you say, well, this partner doesn't have enough space. I have to give him a few good scenes too. He has to solve the crime too. So you give more space to the partner. That waters down the hero. That is telling your reader, the hero is important, but he's not that important. The partner could actually do the same thing. And so automatically the reader says, well, then why do I want to be him? Why can't I just be, maybe we switch over to, maybe it would be more interesting to be the side character, the partner. And then he loses interest in the book because he does not have a hero that he wants to be. If the hero is not much of a hero, if the hero has his problem solved by other people, if the hero does not do extreme and extraordinary things that we can imagine doing, but don't have an opportunity to do in real life, and are not as heroic as we'd like to be in real life, but we can imagine doing them. If the hero does not do those things, there's no reason why we would want to be that hero. We just don't care about him, and we close the book, and you have failed as a writer. That hero is the main emotional point for the reader, even if you don't believe, even if there are other things in the book that are more interesting to you, like the theme, good versus evil, or order versus chaos. This is a great theme. It's a philosophical theme. I want to write about this theme. Write about the theme, put it in there, but don't neglect the hero. He's the reason why we're reading this book. And if you want to know what a good hero is made of, ask yourself, what were the heroes in your life that you wanted to be, that you loved so much that you said, yeah, I would love to be that guy. And I got to tell you, there's a difference between the hero that you want to be and the hero you want to write. A lot of us writers, we write for applause, among other reasons. And it's legitimate to write for applause. It's legitimate to write for social recognition. A lot of what we do in life is for social recognition. We need society. We need the group. We need people to love us to get through society and to have a successful life. That's good. The thing is, we often think, what I want to do? I want to write a book that no one has ever seen before. That everyone looks and says, oh my God, I did not know that such a book could be written. This guy is a genius. And that's what we want. We want to be applauded as a genius. And we want people to say, oh my God, this hero, he made a hero that he took a villain, a serial killer, and there's not one good thing in this book about the serial killer. He's a horrible person, yet he's the main character in the book. That's brilliant. The thing is, it's no one's going to read it because it may be brilliant in a kind of an intellectual way, but there's no emotional relationship that the reader can have to the hero. If you write something about a villainous main character, an anti-hero, he has to be 90% relatable, 90% a hero that the reader wants to be. Don't ask yourself. I would, if you have this kind of hero in mind and this kind of book in mind, and I do too, and we all do. We're like that. Writers are like that. We want to do something exceptional. We want to break all the rules. If you have a character like that, a hero like that, ask yourself if you, as a reader, would have an emotional relationship to him. Not as a writer. As a writer, you have the thing where you say, oh, I'm such a great writer. Look at me. Ask yourself, would you love him? Would you want to be him as a reader? Ask yourself what kind of heroes you loved and wanted to be when you were a kid or a young person or just recently. Anyway, whenever. Was it this intellectual weird character, or was it some guy who was, did some great thing about the world? Was it some guy who actually you're a bit embarrassed to talk about with your intellectual friends? I have characters like that. When I'm with my friends, I and my other writer friends, we talk about Faulkner and Hemingway and all this. We talk about the big names and the big things. But when I'm alone and I think about the characters, the main characters, the heroes that I really loved, I think about guys like, well, Steve Martin in what was this the film, the Steve Martin remake, the film called Roxanne. It was a remake of Cyrano de Bergerac, the guy, the heroic sword fighter in France with a big nose, and he could not find love because he had this big nose, and no woman would want to get near that nose, right? So he has a friend who is in love with the woman he's in love with, and he helps the friend by writing great love letters to this girl. And the friend pretends to have written the love letters himself, even though he's not very articulate. And the girl falls in love with the friend because of the love letters, which actually were written by Cyrano de Bergerac. Okay, you know the story. It's a great story. Steve Martin made a remake. It's not as literary as the original Cyrano, but it's terrifically funny. And this main character is just so wonderful. He's generous and loving to the people around him. He's strong and doesn't take any shit. He 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 dances on the surface of life. He doesn't let anything get him down. He has reason to get depressed because he has this problem that he cannot solve, and he cannot find love because of it. So he cannot find a fulfilled life. He is blocked from this basic thing we all have. Yet he does not let it get him down because he takes life with humor. He goes through life and he makes jokes about it. And that is the guy I want to be. I want to be the non-depressed guy who does not let life get him down. And that is he's a literary character. There was no, Nobel Prize for writing Roxanne. Uh, but when I think of the heroes I want to be, that's the guy I wanted to be. I wanted to be that guy. And I at some point in the movie, I said, I would even take the nose. I'll take the nose. I want to be that guy. I want to be him. It's an emotional thing, not an intellectual thing. If you have an emotional relationship to a hero, that is a successful hero. It is a true hero. It's a hero who you should have in your life. And if you want to write such a hero, you have to ask yourself, would I like him as a reader? Would I love him in secret? Would I like to be this hero? That's what you have to ask yourself. If you can answer that question, then you've got a good hero. Okay, folks. Anyway, I'm going to close with a quote from Proust, great intellectual writer, right? And he said exactly the same thing, but with more words. But before I do that, before I give you this quote, I want to give you a practice, an exercise. Okay, so this is what you do. Just think to yourself, go inside yourself and look honestly about who you are and why you read or why you go to movies, what kind of movies you consume and love. And take a piece of paper and write down one of the heroes you wanted to be, just like me with Roxanne, with Steve Martin, Cyrano. Um, uh, uh, Charlie, I guess it was called Charlie in the movie, I think. Yeah, okay, it doesn't matter. What hero in your past, in a book or in a movie, did you want to be? You want to be like him. You want to live life like him. You wanted to be him, not just because, it was interesting, there were zombies or something. No, you wanted to be him emotionally. Take that character and write down 10 reasons why you wanted to be that character. 10 reasons. It could be something simple like he drove a cool car. James Bond, right? He has a cool car. He has a license to kill. He doesn't have to obey the rules. He could break the rules. That's a great reason to want to be that character. He was elegant. He could dance. He got the girls. He was much loved by society. He had a sense of humor. He was intellectual. He was smart. He understood books. He could quote Heidegger. Whatever it is, from simple to complex, from material to emotional, doesn't matter what it is. Write down 10 things, 10 reasons you wanted to be that character. And then write down one more thing. One reason you were glad, maybe secretly glad, that you could only be him in a book and not in real life. That you were he was a proxy, but not the real thing. Why you're secretly glad you're not really him and can only experience his life and being him through reading a book, through the experience of storytelling. Write it down. 10 reasons why you wanted to be him, one reason why you really didn't, at least not in real life. Okay, here's my quote from Marcel Proust, author of Time Regained, Time Revisited, Remembrance of Things Past, whatever it is you want to call this series. It has different titles. He said, every reader, as he reads, is actually the reader of himself. The writer's work is only a kind of optical instrument he provides the reader so he can discern what he might never have seen in himself without this book. The reader's recognition in himself of what the book says is the book of the proof of the books is the proof of the book's truth. What he's saying, you may want to listen to that sentence, the 3 sentences here, a couple of times to get what he's saying. What he's saying is a reader reads to be the hero, to live in the book and learn something from the life of the hero, how the hero lives, what he does, in order to apply that, or at least think about that in his own life. He reads to identify with the hero. Folks, whatever it is you do, whatever it is you're writing, however it is you want to write, whatever conclusions you come to, whether you agree with me or not, doesn't matter. I wish you success in writing. Keep writing that book. It's worth it for you. Writing is a sacred act. Have a good weekend, and I wish you all the love, luck, and happiness in this world.